Во денешното издание на Дневникот на Канал 5 гостен е амбасадорот на Соединените американски држави, господинот Џес Бејли. Господине Бејли, добро дојдовте и веднаш да ве прашам дали по она што се случи вчера Македонија и натаму е суверена држава?
Absolutely, Macedonia is a sovereign country. I know there have been questions asked about this and the Prishino agreement. We were asked by the leaders to be part of the Prishino process. We were observers. That agreement was done by the leaders with our facilitation and observation. That's still the status. With regard to elections or any other decisions involved in this process, those are, of course, decisions for the leaders, and then, as depending on what is decided, for the Parliament of the Republic of Macedonia. Macedonia is a fully sovereign country.
Во Македонија има перцепција дека меѓународната заедница постапува многу попустливо во однос на една политичка партија. Дали е тоа точно?
That's not the case. In this process of negotiation, what we've been looking for is a way for Macedonia to move beyond the political crisis, to put political dialogue back into institutions such as Parliament, to account for the issues surrounding the wiretap scandal, and then, of course, lead to credible elections. We're interested in the process, in getting agreement, and helping Macedonia move on. We don't pick parties, we don't pick leaders.
Законот за медиумите беше една од главните пречки во текот на преговорите, можеби и да се донесе конечниот договор за избори на 24 април. Намаса беа и предлозите на Македонската медиумска асоциација, составена од 5 најголеми телевизии. Исто така намаса беше и уште еден предлог од една политичка партија за да се преземе било кој закон од било која членка од Европската Унија и да се примени во Македонија, како и препораката за саморегулација по критериумите на ОПСЕ. Што се случи? Зошто не можеше да се постигне договор?
Well, we didn't get an agreement on media reforms. That's unfortunate. You noted that there's several proposals out there. There were several proposals discussed. Unfortunately, the parties didn't come to agreement. I think that the efforts of for example, the Council of Media Ethics and the code they did for ethical reporting during elections is a very important step. And at the end of the day, I think reporters, journalists, editors have the power to decide how the media presents, has the ability to present diverse views, unbiased fact, give people the range of opinion about ideas and policies. Then that's what an election is about, and I think reporters can do that. There are certain reforms that were not agreed upon. I think the key question, though, right now that we've been discussing in the last several days is really the election date, because after tomorrow night, after Tuesday night, a process, you get to the point of no return. And so I think that's the key question we're working on over the last several days. What we said was the four parties need to agree on media reforms. That was not achieved. That will remain on the table. I think the key question, though, right now is deciding on the issue of the electoral date. And that was the most critical issue in the letter we wrote to the Prime Minister.
Сметате ли дека во услови на слаба опозиција меѓународната заедница стана опозицијата во Македонија?
I think I just answered your question about that before. We don't pick sides. We're not in the business of representing one party's opinion or the other party's opinion. We've been in the business here of trying to get the parties to come to consensus and move the country forward as I said, I've already outlined all the goals of the Prishino process. That's what we do.
Господине Бејли, дали сметате дека со ова што се случи, Пришинскиот договор е мртв?
I remain convinced that it's alive. I remain convinced that it's the way out of the political crisis. You know, there have been other moments in this agreement when people thought it was dead. I can give you, I've heard it so many times. And each and every time, people have come together, made a decision, and moved forward. So I'm an optimist, and I'm going to remain an optimist because that's how you get things done.
Но сметате ли дека дополнителното пролонгирање на овие избори за не се знае кој датум во вакви услови, кога имаме и мигрантска криза, кога окружувањето е онакво како што го знаеме, може дополнително да доведе до дестабилизација во Македонија.
As you know, I think the question we said in our assessment that we don't think the conditions are right, the risks are high for an election on April 24th. So the question I would ask is, as we said, in Prigino there were there was an April 24th date, and there was a need to have credible elections. You need both to solve the political crisis. And I couldn't agree more with the EU Commissioner Hahn, who tweeted last night that credible elections are more important than a date. And I don't think we wouldn't have said, you know, ultimately this is up to political leaders to decide. It'll be up to the Parliament of Macedonia to make decisions here. But we think that it's important to have a credible election. That's what's going to move you out of the political crisis. That's what's going to, that EU leaders are going to be looking at when they decide on the recommendation and so forth. But ultimately, that's what's in the benefit of Macedonian citizens, I think. I think it's important to understand that in the recommendation, we made our assessment based on certain things. We asked ourselves a question: can there be, or have there been cross-checks done that allow people to know how big the number of anomalies are in the voter list, and from there, how many anomalies you have to deal with. Is it 10? Is it 10,000? Is it 100,000? Nobody actually knows the answer to that question, because it's a complicated process to go through these comparing of 10 different databases from ministries. So it's a complicated process. And what we said is that you need, for a credible election, you want people to have confidence in the voters list. Let that process take its course. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. It's very dangerous, I think, to do shortcuts or try to rush with something that involves a very fundamental right of citizens, which is, of course, the right to vote, the right to participate in an election. So we think that, on balance, that it's more important, as the Commissioner said, to uphold the credibility of the election rather than the date. And the critical question right now that people are dealing with has to be answered in the next 36 hours, because that's when Parliament would recess.
Државната изборна комисија е подпомогната од меѓународни експерти кои што се тука дојдени токму за тоа, за прочистување на избирачкиот список. Од друга страна пак, Македонија тие располагаат со околу 2 милиони податоци, додека, како што знаеме, Америка располага со 200 милиони податоци, па сепак не се потребни ни таму месец, 2, 3, 5 за да се вкрсти компјутерски целиот систем и да се дојде до некакво решение за многу пократко време.
In fact, those are the very experts we consulted. I would note that the experts are coming from IFAS under a project of USAID. The United States is investing a lot of money to help you in this process through those experts. Those are the very people we've consulted in our assessment.
Јас ви благодарам што бевте дел од дневникот на Канал 5 и се надевам дека Македонија ќе остане, како што рековте, просперитетна земја и да останете оптимист во врска со разврската на целиот овој проблем.
We want Macedonia to have good elections. We want Macedonia to realize its Euro-Atlantic aspirations. We share that view, and we are acting as friends and longtime supporters of your country. Thank you.